Hi everyone! In this video, we'll be going over gerunds and infinitives. First, let's review. What's the subject, verb, and object in these sentences? I love desserts. I is the subject, love is the verb, and desserts is the object. What part of speech is desserts? This is a noun. I love making desserts. I is the subject, love is the verb, and making desserts is my object. Making. Making's like a verb, but not exactly. It's called a gerund. And a gerund is basically a verb that acts like a noun. It can be an object. Number 3. I love to eat desserts. I is the subject, love is the verb, to eat desserts is my object. This here is called an infinitive. So I'm going to talk to you about how we use these two forms in a sentence in English. First, let's talk about gerunds. They're the ing words. I recommend taking out a piece of paper and writing these 4 uses and making room. And you can write an example for each type of gerund, and that way you'll remember it. You can pause the video here to write down these 4 types of gerunds. Okay, let's go over the first one. Gerund as subject. Gerunds can be the subject of a sentence, just like pronouns and nouns. Here are some examples. I love books. Here I just have a pronoun as my subject, I. The book is interesting. This is a noun as the subject. Reading books can help you learn English. Here I have a gerund. Making desserts is fun. Again, I have another gerund as the subject. Usually, when you're first learning English, you use pronouns and nouns as the subject, but it's important to know that you can also use gerunds as a subject when you want to show an activity. Reading books can help you learn English. So this action, this activity can do something. So it can be before the verb. So you can have a gerund as your subject. Let's practice. Blank is a good way to learn English. So what things can you do to learn English? Listening to music is a good way to learn English. Here I have my gerund as subject. Watching videos is a good way to learn English, like this one. Taking ESL classes is a good way to learn English. Making friends is a good way to learn English. So these are some examples of ways we can use gerunds as subjects. You can also use a gerund as an object. And they go after certain verbs, not all verbs, like avoid, consider, dislike, enjoy, finish, imagine, keep, miss, quit, recommend, suggest. And there are more. These are just some examples of common words. Example, I enjoy watching movies. So my gerund is going after the verb. It's the object. Let's practice. What did he finish? He finished washing the dishes. So I have the gerund as the object. How do you recommend studying? I recommend making flashcards. I recommend taking notes. The gerund can also be an object of a preposition. I am interested in learning more. So my preposition is in, and then I have a gerund as my object. I dream about getting a good job. I'm afraid of losing my job. Let's practice. What does she plan on doing? She plans on graduating from college. What does she believe in? She believes in caring for the elderly. Now, gerunds can also be used after some expressions, like have a hard or fun time, spend waste time, have a problem, no problem, have difficulty, no difficulty. I had a hard time understanding the speech. So, as you can see, the gerund goes after this expression. I like to spend time cooking homemade meals. Don't waste your time watching TV all day. I had no problem communicating with her. So those are some examples of gerunds after these expressions. Now, let's talk about infinitives. So infinitive is to with the base verb. And these are some of the common uses. And again, in your notebook, I would write down each of these 5 and leave room after each one so you can write an example. And know you can always pause this video, go back, and take notes. First, infinitives can be used as the subject, but it's not common. So I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the second 2, 3, 4, and 5 because it's more common. So infinitives can be used as an object. Like gerunds, they can be the object, but of certain verbs, of different verbs. Agree, begin, decide, expect, learn, need, plan, try, used, like I used to smoke cigarettes, want, would like, and more. I used to study on weekends only. So here after used, we use the infinitive. This means you had this past habit. I plan to study on weekends also. So after the word plan, I use the infinitive. Okay? You wouldn't use the gerund. For example, I wouldn't say I plan studying on weekends. That's incorrect. So after some verbs, we use the infinitive, not the gerund. On the other hand, there are some verbs that can take both gerunds and infinitives as the object, and there's little to no difference in meaning. These are verbs like, love, prefer, begin, and more. Examples: I prefer studying in the evening. I prefer to study in the evening. Both are correct and they have very little difference in meaning, so you could do both. Same thing with like. I like to watch videos, or I like watching videos. Same thing. So you could use the gerund or the infinitive, but that's for some, okay, not all. You could also use an infinitive after an adjective, like important. It is important to do your best. It is necessary to do your best. It is necessary to stay healthy. The students are ready to learn. So after adjectives, you can use the infinitive. And we use the infinitive after nouns. You have the ability to succeed. So this is giving more information about ability to do something. I have a lot of work to do. So work is my noun, and then after I have the infinitive, work to do. I didn't have a chance to finish. This is the best car to buy. So basically these infinitives, they give you more information about the nouns. We also have infinitives of purpose. They show why we do something, and you can have to in the verb or in order to in the verb. I went to the bank to deposit some money. So this is the reason I went to the bank, to deposit some money. Or I went to the bank in order to deposit some money. Both mean the same thing, and they're showing the purpose, why you're doing something. Let's practice. Why did you sign up for Summer Bridge? I signed up for Summer Bridge to improve my English. Or, in order to improve my English. We read The Magic of Letters last week. Why did Chameli write the essay? She wrote the essay to show how education changed her life. Or you could say, in order to show how education changed her life. Why did Chameli build the bridge? She built the bridge to help children go to school during the rainy season. She built the bridge in order to help children go to school. Okay, so let's do a quick review. So we use a gerund as a subject, object of the verb, some verbs, okay? Object of a preposition like in or of, and then after some expressions like I have no problem doing this. And for infinitives, there is the subject, but it's not commonly used. We have the object of the verb, like I want to learn more grammar. After adjectives, after nouns, and then infinitives of purpose. Let's take a look at some sentences from last week's reading. Can you find the gerunds and infinitives? I believe in the alphabet because it has the power to change life. Can you find a gerund or infinitive? Yes, so here we have to change. This is the infinitive. And it's after the noun. After the noun power, the power to change. In discovering the Nepali alphabet, I discover I was Chameli and not Chameli, as everyone used to call me. So here we have an infinitive as the object of the verb, used to call me. And then up here we have a gerund, and the gerund is coming after the preposition, in discovering. Okay, so for homework, you'll be practicing identifying gerunds and infinitives from our readings. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Bye now.